Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ajoe21love, here with another episode of Sports Movie Topics. Here today, episode number 74, where I recap a good but still bizarre Week 10 of the NFL season. Be talking about a little bit about Tyler Hero, and as well as thoughts on Week 11, my picks of the season, as we're now in the second half of the NFL season. But thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast or if you want to see more of these videos, click that subscribe there on for the homepage and the channel. You can find more sports related topics there. It'll be helpful. Thank you. But nonetheless, today on the podcast, Week 10 of the NFL season was a good week. Finally rebounded with picks this week. 9-4-1. Yes, the one we got a tie this season. Very strange, but still was fun in that regard, you could say, for the NFL. But first, we're going to go over Thursday Night Football to open up Week 10. As a big upset was in store. The Miami Dolphins in Miami upsetting the over a touchdown favorite Baltimore Ravens coming in. If things went their way, they could have found themselves with the number one seed at the end of Week 10. That did not go their way. And they just fell out of sorts. Now, I said before on the podcast that the Baltimore Ravens offense, Lamar Jackson is the sword. They live and die by him. In this case, they did not look good. They did not look good. Now, again, so with their slew of injuries, they did look good on the first two drives, but only came away with 3 points on their first two drives. And from that point on, the Miami defense showed a glimpse of what it was last year when it was really good and catapulted their team to 10 wins last season. They just harassed the Ravens offense. Jacoby Brissett, though, they had trouble moving the ball. It was a short game going into half. It was 6-3 going into halftime. And then Jacoby Brissett looked like he went down with a serious injury. Thankfully, it wasn't. But Tool got in there, and even though Jacoby was cleared, it was still Tua's game, and Tua did enough. He did a very good job. He moved the chains well. The running game did a good job for him. Adam Shaheen had a few good catches as well for the Dolphins there. Got a little pop up on my computer. Got that done. But yeah, Tua did his job. Despite Now, again, when you're evaluating injuries, you wonder. You always wonder. How healthy really is he, and how healthy is he compared to, say, your backup or who you also have? But we could see that the Dolphins offense had troubles. Although, I mean, it was 6-3 at the half, but Tua was driving down, and Baltimore just good for Miami. Kind of a gut wrenching loss for Baltimore, considering where you think they want to be, and it's a loss like this that can cost you a bye in the postseason. So then we move to Sunday. So Jets and Bills. Bills won 45-17. You know, Bills offense, it's kind of been in a funk the last few weeks, but they got it rolling here against the Jets. Now, yes, it's the Jets, but at the same time, you need a rebound somewhere, and this case they did. Stephon Diggs had a great game for the Bills. They absolutely needed uh, to get out of this staleness that they were having, and Josh Allen did a good job. Mike White, you know, Jets, you always want to look at a positive note for how they're doing or how every team is doing. Their defense, has been sour the last number of weeks. And, you know, sometimes when you win a shootout, it masks, the fact that your team surrendered a bunch of points. And, you know, they win the shootout for Cincinnati. Then Mike White gets injured versus the Colts, although they still did well. And then here they 4 picks by White, it was just not good for the Jets. But good for the Bills. They get rolling back to where they are. And in a crucial game next week, it's Bills and Colts, a feature game of the season. And then another case of score right, team wrong. The Washington football team beat the Buccaneers off a bye. Now, both these teams were coming off a bye. But Washington won this 29-19. Taylor Heineke, you know, last season in the playoffs and the wild card round, he played great. It was kind of his coming out party to start for people really noticing about him. And then their defense pulled tight today against the Bucks. Bucks still without Gronk, without Antonio Brown, without Scotty Miller on offense. That's just the offense. Still without members in the secondary. I mean, they had trouble getting Washington's offense off the field point blank, and they just controlled the clock. Now, Brady had a bad first quarter, and then, they're still trying to find their way back. Made a 4-point game, it was 23-19, but, it's a little cause for concern for the Buccaneers. Now, yes, I love Brady. Yes, I support him for what he did with the Patriots, but at the end of the day, they have not looked good a bit on offense. And really, you can say that, yeah, they miss Gronk and they miss Scotty Mil. They miss because, yes, Godwin, he was in the game, but he wasn't 100%. And Evans, you know, Fournette didn't do good really as well. And that offense is not doing well right now. And they have to figure something out, whether it's just play a bit more conservative because we know how low it. Now, with the injuries and such, they're not as loaded as they were last season, but they need to adapt like the Chiefs adapted against the Raiders and figure out how to utilize the strengths best of what they have in their football team right now. Now, they have the Giants next week, but which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, they need to ho- tighten up on their team per se. And then as for Washington, hats off for Heineke, hats off for the defense. Obviously, to me and to many, they're one of my most disappointing teams of the season based on how they finished last year and to now. But it was good to see, especially their defense, hold tight against a high-powered Bucs offense. And speaking of disappointing, was the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons lost to the Cowboys 43-3. Now, Cowboys clearly got blown out by the Broncos last week. And the Falcons were coming in hot. So, here or there, how would the Cowboys respond? How would the Falcons continue to ride this momentum? Dan Quinn getting fired last season as the Falcons head coach had a great game plan for facing the Falcons offense, and hats off to him. And good for Cowboys offense. They rebound in a big way. And just strange still for Falcons to only score 3 points. But that's kind of the NFL season for you. Crazy scores, crazy scores. And then what was an interesting score, an interesting game. The Titans extend their win streak against the Saints. Titans have now won 6 straight in the league, winning 23-21. You know, they keep finding a way to win. You know, It has been great. Again, Tannehill only threw for a little over 200 yards. Their defense is enough. Their defense is getting better. Their running game is fine. I mean, Peterson, he made a couple nice plays. Same with Foreman, McNichols, but still, they're consistent, which you like to see. Now, that roughing the passer call was stupid, but again, I can understand it simply because it was the area. Now, yes, it wasn't enough abrupt contact for a flag, but I mean, it was the area. So, I mean, that's my only complaint is the flag. As for Saints, without Alvin Kamara, still did well on offense besides the turnovers. But yeah, I mean, Trevor Simeon, those wide receivers, although I will say they're spreading it out more, but still without your best player on offense currently, it's a little bit to ask. But as for Titans, they keep winning. They keep winning. And that's consistency when a lot of teams are inconsistent, which you have to respect. And then the Colts hang tight versus the Jags. They win 23-17. Jags offense played well in this game. They played well. You know, they had touchdown and big touchdown to Agnew. They hit a field goal, but a field goal was missed. They had some good drives. They just couldn't punch it in much. It's 20-9 at halftime. But Colts, they hung tight. They found a way to win, seemingly. And, a fumble at the end of the last drive by the Jaguars. And Colts win back to 500. And looking forward to that crucial game for the Bills. Now, this game would be, I'm not sure what to say, but the first tie of the season came in Pittsburgh, 16-16. It was not a loss or a win for the Lions, but they tied. You know, Mason Rudolph, for those who don't know, Big Ben tested positive for COVID, so he was out for this game. Mason Rudolph was in, and he did fine. He did okay, but you know, to tie with the Lions doesn't go well on the resume for Mason Rudolph. Um, you know, I'm glad that the Lions ran the ball more because they have some solid running backs in the backfield. And you can kind of say they deserve to win. San Jose was weak on the field goal try in overtime, which would gave them their first win, but you know, just bizarre game. But I mean, courtesy of the tie, Steelers remain in the playoff race. Also good that TJ Watt seems to be okay. There was a scary scene after a sack on Jared Goff, but he seems to be okay. Yeah, just bizarre tie in Pittsburgh. So then, what was a great showing by the Patriots. They won 45-7 against the Browns, and they bolstered to 6-4, and very much in the thick of things in the AFC. You know, Patriots fell down 7-0, and they didn't look back. Um, you know, Mac Jones, as I said before, and I'll say it again, you know, with all these rookie QBs this season, which everyone wants to judge and put a tagline on and a narrative, I'm giving all a pass, or I said I give them all a pass for this season. I just want to see improvement. And I've seen improvement out of Fields. I've seen improvement out of Trevor Lawrence. Subject to change about Trey Lance because we haven't seen him much. And yeah, but simple. And Zach Wilson, pretty much the same. But Mac Jones, you know, it's obvious because he's on the best team out of the five. Out of the Jets, Jaguars, 49ers, and Bears. He's on the best team. So, and the best coach in football, Bill Belichick. But I mean, run the ball well. Ramondre Stevenson seems to be a really good get in the draft. Damian Harris, he was out due to a concussion. Ramondre Stevenson had a heck of a game. Um, Mac Jones only 19 for 23 for less than 200 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. The only rookie quarterback for the Patriots to do that without any interceptions. So great for Mac Jones. Hunter Henry seems to be a really good get as well. He had 2 more touchdowns, 7 touchdowns now on the year for Henry. As for Browns, they got the much needed win against the Bengals last week. Now they fall at 5-5 at 500. Baker, he's still with a shoulder injury and now he's got a knee contusion. He's trying to fight for a second contract, and I get that, but at the same time, you gotta be wary about your health, which is a tough thing because people say they're overrated, which by the record, but reality is they've been disappointing. With their record and the roster, you expect more, simply. But 5-5, just yeah, for the Browns, but we'll see. At least they get the Lions next week. I will say that. Then what was a topsy-turvy game? Vikings show they're not dead by any means in the NFC. 27-20 in SoFi against the Chargers. You know, the Chargers have a bad run defense. And with the formula of the Vikings, the way they want to play football, Dalvin Cook, play action, it bound itself, but also credit to the Vikings defense holding Herbert to 20 points, and the Chargers offense, you know, the NFC and the NFL in total is pretty, I would say, up in the air when it comes to the 7th seeds. Simply because we know the good teams in the NFL and the AFC and the NFC. With the inconsistencies of the up in the air teams, the Vikings are still very much in the match for the 7th seed in the NFC. As for the Chargers, they had the chance to go first in the division after week 10, and they failed. Um, it's a big game next week against Pittsburgh, and just have to see how things shake out. But good for the Vikings and bad for Chargers. But good for Cam Newton, though. Good for Cam Newton. In his return, the Panthers trouted the Cardinals in Arizona. No Kyler and no DeAndre Hopkins again. Cardinals lost 34-10. Colt McCoy, he struggled very much with the Panthers, and you wondered, Sam Darnold has been in a funk. We can pretty much say for the last number of weeks. He's been in a funk. He's played too much with the turnovers. And, that has caused some dissension with the team. And, bringing in Cam Newton and that defense played with much invigorated life. It's like they got boost. And that's what they did. Now, again, it was against Kyler-less Cardinals team. But nonetheless, great for the Panthers. Great for Cam. Cam didn't do a whole lot because, it's less than a week back. But still, he did really well. The amount of tries he was given. And a very interesting dynamic next week with the Panthers versus the Washington football team. Ron Rivera versus the old quarterback Cam Newton. See how it goes. And then I said before, the up in the air teams in the NFC. The Eagles are one of those teams. They beat the Broncos in Mile High 30-13. Running the ball for over 200 yards. credit to the Eagles. Um, Jalen Hurts had a good day. Devontae Smith, 2 touchdowns. You know, with the great start to the season by Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith has kind of flying up under the rug, or swept under the rug. However, he had very good game. Broncos had 2 very good drives, but besides that, they were kind of shocked by Eagles defense. And speaking of shocked, I think everyone is shocked by this game. As Green Bay beat the Seahawks 17-0. Now, you could have looked at this score and you would have not been convinced that Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers were not playing, but they were. Russell Wilson coming back from his finger injury, Aaron Rodgers coming off after testing positive for COVID. Both you could tell were off. Another stupid pop up on computer, but good. Yeah, Packers did what they needed to do. You know, Russell was too aggressive. He just, you know, both quarterbacks were definitely off in this game, and you could tell. Now, I mean, obviously, you hear Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers, you think fireworks. Not the case, but you just wonder. It just feels like the last year in Seattle for Russell Wilson. It's just how it seems like. And Packers, they keep finding ways to win, and their defense is pulling through for them. Really pulling through. Now, yes, they lost last week to Chiefs, but held the Chiefs to 13 points. So, credit to them. Yeah. Now they're back in the number 1 seed in the NFC. As for the Seahawks, I don't know what to say. What I do know what to say is Chiefs won on Sunday Night Football 41-14. It was a disappointing effort, I will say, for Raiders offense. However, Chiefs, you know, we can all say this. The Chiefs have played bad the last number of weeks. They have played bad and not up to the standards of the few previous years of what everybody was saying. Oh, they're going to go in the dynasty, oh, this and that, possibly 20-0. And people were saying, well, Chiefs for the last number of weeks, it's been the same formula for opposing defenses. You know, give them short stuff, take away the big play. But in this game, the Chiefs' offense adapted and took some short stuff. They did run the ball a little bit. And then with the one-on-one opportunities, Mahomes exploited them and Raiders defense and their offense just couldn't keep up, I would say. Too many missed opportunities. And you just wonder, with the John Gruden's thing, with the Henry Ruggs thing, with the Damon Arnett thing, and Derek Carr being now the leader now in the locker room. You just wonder how much all this stuff off the field is affecting their on play ability. Now, it's not entirely gonna affect them, but it's definitely much to ask for. Because we're all humans and it's just so and so. But yeah, for the Raiders, you just don't know. Good for the Chiefs. It was a must-needed win ahead of their big game versus the Cowboys next week. Finally, to end Week 10 of the NFL season, 49ers blew out the Rams. Much-needed victory, 31-10. Now, 2 picks are going to show up in the stat sheet for Matthew Stafford. But you can't really say that they were his fault. First one, miscommunication. Second was off of Higbee's hands, so I can't really fault Stafford for those 2 picks, and which ultimately fell the Rams early, and they were pretty much just playing catch up the majority of the game, making them one-dimensional pretty much, and 49ers were able to play their formula of football, simply put, and good for them. Like I said, with the uncertainty in the NFC, um, much needed victory for the 49ers. As for the Rams, going to their bye week, drop 2 straight. They need to be more disciplined, and you know, getting the Robert Woods injury definitely must hurt. And Odell, they did give him the ball a couple times, but yeah, it was just difficult night for the Rams. 2 straight weeks they've fallen early, and they need to work on that. So then Tyler Hero, before we get into the Week 11 predictions, Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat has done really well for the for the start of the season. He has accumulated over 20 plus points in numerous games this season, and off the talk last year, why did they not trade him for Harden? This and that. He had a bad year. If the awards were today, I think I would put Tyler Hero as my 6th Man of the Year award for the NBA. In his role, he's really doing well for the Heat, and still a long season to go, but hats off to him with his start to his season. So there's that. Now week 11 of the NFL season. Interesting week, to say. So, but to start off, Thursday Night Football. Quick turnaround for the Patriots. They go to Atlanta to play a embarrassed, I would say, Falcons team. Patriots 6.5 point favorites in Atlanta. You know, the Patriots are clicking on all cylinders, and you just don't know with the Falcons right now. I mean, many people could have argued, well, they may be in contention for that 7th seed in the NFC, and they may still be, but to look that bad versus Cowboys, I mean, I don't know. So I'll say the Patriots cover, but barely. 27-20, Patriots in Atlanta. They get to 7-4. Then we get to Sunday. Saints now 5-4, going to Philly. Eagles 1.5 point favorites at home. You know, Eagles play very well against Broncos. Saints, they had that great showing against the Bucks a few weeks ago, and they have faltered since. You know, originally I picked the Eagles. It's interesting because Saints are good enough to be a playoff team. They have a good defense. You know, what's the status of Alvin Kamara? But the receiving core is no big names pop out in the receiving core, unfortunately, and is what it is. And Trevor Simeon behind the wheel, Taysom Hill, they gotta orchestrate them and more because there's not a lot working for that Saints offense. And Eagles are operating right well. Getting Lane Johnson back for the line is really doing well. I think they're inspired now, so I'm going to go with the Eagles. Same with them, 27-24 against the Saints. Then we got the Dolphins going to the Jets. Dolphins, 3-point favorites. Tua will start. You know, I think it's fair to say that while they may not make the playoffs, they're still fighting for something. Looking at their record, and who knows, may still get it, but yeah, I'm going with Dolphins no matter who they start at quarterback. 23-14, Dolphins win. Then we got another interesting game for week, or I guess you could say this is really the first eye-popping game of the week considering the dynamic. But Washington off their big win against the Bucks. Going to Carolina. Ron Rivera versus Cam Newton. Hmm. You know, Carolina 3.5 point favorites. You know, soon first the teacher. Chris McCaffrey is healthy. And I think now with Sam Darnold, he kind of put Joe Brady in a bind. And, you know, with McCaffrey back, with having Cam Newton, I think it opens up more element to the offense, which I think they'll be prepared. I still think this will be a close game. But with the news of Chase Young and Montez Sweat fracturing his jaw as well the other day, I just gotta go with the Panthers here to get the win 28-24 against Washington. Um, hmm. So then we got we got the Colts at the Bills. Could be the best game of the week, I would say. Bills 7-point favorites rematch from Super Wildcard Weekend. Uh, of course, it was Philip Rivers versus Josh Allen. Now it's Josh Allen versus Carson Wentz. Interesting stuff. You know, the offense of the Colts is a bit scary. You know, Jonathan Taylor is playing really well. Carson Wentz, you know, he's more explosive than Philip Rivers. 7 points. Hmm. I'm actually changing. Hmm. I originally went Bills, but Colts are playing really well. And, you know, I'm going with Colts to win this 28-25 over the Bills. I don't know, just feeling it feels difficult game, but there's that. Next, we got Lions getting a tie, not a win. Still in search of their first win of the season. They go to Cleveland to play the Browns. Browns 10-point favorites. Now, Dan Campbell got more involved with the offense last week. They ran the ball more. Browns defense got embarrassed against the Patriots. You know, 10 points maybe too much. You know what? I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with the Browns to win, but Lions to cover 26-20. Browns win. Get back over 500 for the year. Then we got 49ers going to Jacksonville. 49ers just got a big win. Their big win over the Rams. So in it, Jags played good against the Colts, but couldn't finalize a victory. You know, depending on how 49ers looked, I would pick the upset. But with how, you know, 49ers lived through the run, and then they don't want to put too much on Jimmy G's plate. Although Jags got some solid players on defense. You know, I'm not picking many upsets this week, but I will pick this upset. So I'm going to go with the Jags to upset 27-23. You know, it's been a crazy year of picks, so I'm just going with my gut. Jags win this for Trevor Lawrence getting another win, 27-23. So then we get Texans going to the Titans. Titans 6-game win streak. Texans are, I just don't know. Titans 10-point favorites. I think that's generous, although the Titans offense isn't very electric right now. But so I'm gonna say 26-14. Titans win over Texans. Gave their 7th straight win. Go 9-2. Then we got an interesting game here. We got Packers going to Minnesota playing the Vikings. You know, question is, Aaron Rodgers looked off against the Seahawks. How is he going to look now in Minnesota? It's certainly a question. I'm sure he'll look a little bit better. Of course, you don't know with COVID. Vikings, got a big win against the Chargers. The last number of years, the Vikings have done well versus the Packers. Packers 2.5-point favorites. You know what? This would be a third upset, and I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm rolling with the Vikings. I just have a feeling 30-24. Dalvin Cook with the way they've been running. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going with Vikings winning 30-24 against Green Bay. So then we got the Ravens going to Chicago. Ravens 6-point favorites despite that brutal loss in Miami. Now they go to Chicago to play Justin Fields, who looked very good besides those stupid calls against Pittsburgh. But I'm going with Baltimore. They got a rebound in that tight division. I think they do 28-21 in Chicago. Then we got another interesting game. Bengals now 5-4, coming off a bye. Going to Las Vegas, who are also 5-4. You know, something's got to give. You know, I just don't know with the Raiders right now. And Bengals, I think, see, we hyperbole sometimes in the NFL. They pretty much do. And it was pretty much hyperbole after that big win in Baltimore. They've kind of shown that they're not a great team yet. They're a good team. And good teams prevail against a team that is kind of disheartened right now. And the Raiders are disheartened. Bengals 1-point favorite. So I'm saying they do win 23-20 in Vegas. Bengals get their 6th win of the season. Yeah. So then we got Cardinals going to Seattle. Russell Wilson may play. Question is, how healthy is he still? And also, what's his ass, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins? Um, it's all a bunch of what ifs, but I mean, 2 weeks, I think that's probably enough time to get back. And, excuse me, AJ Green is back. I don't think Russell Wilson is healthy. And it's a hard game to pick. I'm just going with Cardinals, the more talented team, 30-20 in Seattle. Because we know Cardinals are a playoff team. Seattle is one of the worst teams. So, just going with the better team, Cardinals, get it done in Seattle. Then we got maybe the game of the week. Cowboys going to Kansas City. Kansas City, 2.5-point favorites. Kansas City. Now, I've already heard it and I've already looked at it. People are saying, oh, the Chiefs are back. Like I said in the thumbnail, they showed improvement. They have adapted. The only question is can they be more consistent with it? Is the question. and against a very talented Cowboys team. We'll see. But I've picked against the Chiefs too much, and I'm sorry about that. So, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Chiefs 34-30. They get another win on the season. Then Sunday nighter in SoFi. Steelers at Chargers. Chargers 4.5-point favorites. You know, Chargers have holes in their defense. And Justin Herbert, he's great, but they can't put too much on his plate. So ultimately the question. And TJ Watt still there. Cam Hayward still there. I think this will be an ugly game, perhaps. So, and the run game of the Steelers, I'm going to put an asterisk for this game. And I'm going to put my score. I think Big Ben will be back. They'll still lay on the run. Najee Harris. Be an ugly game. I'm going to go with 21-17 in SoFi. That's my prediction. Then to end week 12 or week 11, interesting. This game just got a whole lot more interesting. Tampa hosting the Giants coming off a bye. Interesting game last year. Buccaneers 10.5-point favorites seem like a bit much. I'm sure they believe Brady will rebound. We'll see. But the Giants have been playing it tough. You can't go sleep on them because they've been playing tough the last number of games. And with injuries at the receiving corps, I'm sure there's dysfunction a little bit on the offense, but I'm taking the Bucks win, but the Giants to cover 24-21. It'll be a tight game, but Bucks pull out a win. There's that. Although I wouldn't be surprised with what happened, that Giants upset. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's the episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I did too. Um, Again, if you're new to this podcast, you want to see more videos, click that subscribe. Find out more videos on the channel. As well as if you like this video, click the like button as well. Help out the video. But thank you all for joining me. Be back later this week, pro wrestling reviews. And then next week, sports over topics, episode number 75. But thank you nonetheless. I'm Ajoe21love. Be back later this week. Be safe. Peace.